Okay.
And we're back. Homeschool episode 40, the podcast where me and Andrew Rivers and I do monologue jokes while a comedian guest laughs at us or boos us or does whatever they want. And then we talk about our lives and what's going on in our lives, stand-up comedy in the world, but mostly stand-up comedy in the world because we don't really have any lives. We're excited to welcome this week with new special out all over. I mean, you released Danny Jolles, everybody. Hey, Danny Jolles.
Hey, thank you.
Your new special is released. I mean, I've been seeing it on Instagram, but
it is for free on YouTube.
There it is. Yeah, free on
Anybody
YouTube.
Can watch it at any time. It is.
That's the spot to put it.
It's the only place to do it. I can't make money, but it's out there.
I got like $500 for 100,000 views on mine, so that's not bad.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I'm picking up pennies on the sidewalk.
I mean, it's like it will. I also like did it with a production company, and like then there was a distributor, so it's like it is truly physically impossible for me to make money off of this thing at this point. But I also very much believe YouTube is the only place to put it in general.
That's awesome. It's really great. Very, very funny. So definitely check it out. And do you have any, before we get started with our jokes, do you have any live dates where people could see you perform?
You know, I'm inching my way back, but the thing I tell people is like, just watch the special. Like watch it. It's called 6 parts. If you just type my name into YouTube, it should be right there. And like, that is.
He doesn't have any jokes left, so he's not touring for a while.
I mean, yeah. And then, you know, if you want me to come to your town, let me know. That genuinely helps a lot.
Absolutely. DANNYJOLLES. Type it in. You'll find him. Andrew, you going out anywhere?
I'm at Tacoma Comedy Club this weekend with Mark Norman. I think the only show is 4 p.m. Saturday with tickets left because 25% capacity. And then next week, Spokane with Sam Morrell. And then
let's go.
Touring with Steve there for a little bit in the Midwest. So
yes, Offsetter stuff. Fun. I'll be at the Drop Comedy in South Bend, Indiana, May 7th and 8th. The night before, I'm going to do a thing in Chicago. So if you're there, come see me. May 13th to 15th, Tacoma Comedy Club with Chad Daniels. Same thing, only a 4 p.m. show available at this point. Come see us live and watch Danny's special. And now we'll start the jokes. But first, a 3-second pause because I don't know how to edit things.
My favorite part of every episode. Welcome to Homeschool number 40. This podcast is over the hill, just like Cory, and it's getting uglier every day.
Well, I think that's a perfect description of America right now. Get ready for another summer of love.
Oh, great. Another Chaz or Chop.
I love that.
Danny has to deal with his fiance. You two talk to each other.
That's how we normally do it. No, I was talking about the autonomous zone.
Yes, the autonomous zone. Well, cops are still killing people, but that's later in the show.
Glad I came back for that.
You might want to wait a couple more jokes.
All I came back to was cops are killing people. There we go. Let's go.
Oh, man. Well, it's following a nationwide shift in attitude. Manhattan District Attorney is no longer going to prosecute prostitution cases, repealing a law known as the Walking While Trans Bill.
So more like Summer of Chaz Bono.
All right. Well, speaking of Summer of Love, Burning Man, the festival where you can get chlamydia from a bong/dildo, is looking at requiring proof of vaccination in order to attend this summer, which is pissing those people off who like Burning Man but don't want to put random drugs in their body, you know?
Yeah, it's a small demographic, just a few bad apples.
That's what they use to smoke the drugs out of, bad apples. Well, Andrew, looks like those cities that boarded up all their windows this week did it for nothing. Turns out if you just don't let a murder suspect walk free, nobody will riot. Seems pretty simple, I guess.
Yeah, America's buttholes tightened all over the country as Derek Chauvin's verdict was being read, and despite a convincing argument from the defense that George Floyd might have died from the car exhaust, Chauvin was still found guilty on all charges.
Was it the cop's car still? Anyway,
no, he's still liable. I think if you stop shoving his face
Your
into the
car.
tailpipe.
That was such a bold strategy. I was impressed
was.
with the balls of a
Yeah.
lawyer to be like,
The audacity.
yes, he's choking him, but what if I told you there was something else kind of in the proximity that could have done it? And that's their best argument they came up with, and they didn't take a plea. Blew my mind.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, we all know one butthole that will be loose soon in jail, but maybe they're choking him maybe you know what? Maybe they were choking him so he wouldn't breathe in the car exhaust. Police are pretty thoughtful, actually. Good, a lot of good apples.
Yeah. I bet if there wasn't video, it would have been ruled a suicide.
Right. Flags in Idaho are actually at half mast because of the verdict. In other news, come see me in Moscow, Idaho this Saturday. That half mast thing was something I put in my rider, actually.
Well, you hopefully find a lady to bring you to full mast, but don't wear your full mask in Idaho. You gotta keep it under your nose.
What was that one?
I don't know, man.
Last minute.
Not all of them work out well, but
masks are prohibited in Idaho, actually. And as of last week, 21 states have officially ended all mask mandates. 21. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Sneezing at someone is a hate crime still, so be careful.
Not in Idaho.
A third of Americans say laundry is the highlight of their week because now they finally have clean socks to jerk off into.
Oh, all right. Well, I call that sneezing in my panties. Are we just waiting? What are we waiting
I
for?
I just love the pause. My favorite part is the pauses after every one of these.
Wait.
Sneezing in my panties.
People at home to laugh.
Yeah,
of course.
man.
No, of course. There's rockets applause.
They gotta hit 15 seconds back, when they miss the next joke.
What was that great joke?
Not this podcast. We'll let it sink in.
Sneezing my what? That was amazing.
Well, some states aren't ready to commit to convicting murderers, so Florida has passed a bill that a group of more than 3 people engaging in violent or disorderly conduct is considered a riot. Have you been to the comedy club in Naples? Drunk and disorderly is most of the audiences I perform to.
Well, less than 3 is most audiences I perform to.
Well, you're going to be safe. So you can't protest, but what about the Constitution, right? That's the First Amendment that comes right before the second one. The Founding Fathers would have been considered a riot. I saw the movie. There was 12 angry men.
The bill also grants immunity to drivers who run over people in fear of a riot. Man, I can't wait to get pulled over again. Officer. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Officer.
It's like
It is true. Andrew confirms.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oklahoma, Florida, they do all this stuff.
Oh man. Well, if I get pulled over tonight, I'm going to say, officer, I was driving drunk, but on the sidewalk to stop the riot.
Yeah. I hit all those people because they were rioting. That was a tourist. That was a bus stop, Cory.
Well.
I guess the argument that if we ban guns, we should ban cars is getting some legs.
And wheels. Don't pause.
Just wait for Danny to
We're waiting for him to talk shit. We're not waiting for laughter. We're waiting for you to talk shit.
I feel terrible. I feel like I'm a bad audience member.
No.
Let it be known. I used to send these in. I used to do late night packets, and the opening was always monologue jokes. I cannot write what you guys I cannot write them. You guys know my comedy. It's all long stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
I would literally turn these in.
Your whole special was just 6 jokes.
Well, I mean, it legitimately kind of is, and it's look, there's 2 or 3 per section, but it's and so I I would send them in, and I'd be literally, please don't read these. I'm begging you. I tell my reps, I'm please don't look at them. They're bad. I know they're bad. I cannot write what you guys write.
Well, no one likes these either. I've sent in a lot of packets, so. So I'm right there with you. But yeah, I think we're expecting too much from these police officers. A cop in Chicago shot a 13-year-old boy 0.8 seconds after he dropped a gun and turned around with it. Maybe they don't like it because all I do is talk about cops. Just, I wonder why I'm not writing for Fallon. .8 seconds is the time it takes for a fastball to reach home plate. Are we expecting cops to be better than professional athletes?
Right. Yeah. Hey, Babe Ruth also had a diet of mostly donuts and alcohol, and he could spot the rotation of the seams on a baseball. What's wrong with cops these days?
Yeah, well, the Babe was only right 34% of the time. It's not good enough with bullets.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this cop in Columbus, Ohio shot
Jesus,
and killed.
more?
Yeah. Try to write
guys
jokes
really-
about trending topics, and the only thing that trends anymore is police body camera footage. So
I mean, it is sad, but there's a lot of it. But you're definitely hitting it hard. I would say we've been on.
just try to make sense of it all,
Let's see.
Here you
Only
Me and Sam Harris.
Only 8 minutes more of them. Anyway.
Well, this cop shot and killed a 16-year-old girl after she charged another girl with a knife.
Well, with the rigorous training they go through, the cop should have just shot the knife out of her hand instead, or maybe cracked it out of her hand with a whip like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, if you freeze frame the video and spend 5 minutes that the police officer didn't have, it's obvious that when she tackled the other girl and tried to stab her, he should have just jumped on her, held her down, and calmly restrained her until she came to her senses. How difficult is this? Policing so easy.
Well, I'm no Bill Maher, but I do have a new rule. Don't call the cops if you don't want them using a gun. That's all they've been trained to do, is shoot.
Right. What's the old analogy? Like if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah, I get that. Like if all you have is a penis, everything looks like a vagina, right? Like microwave banana peel or warm apple pie or a kumquat.
Did you guys actually do that? I always thought that's an urban myth. Every time I see that in a movie or referenced, I'm always like, are guys doing that? I don't think that's real. I don't think anybody's actually doing that. Did you guys do that?
I only did couch cushions.
Yeah.
That's the only one I did. And at my buddy's house, I remember once. What an awful person. I know, right?
Where was he?
I think he died. But
okay.
Not connected.
He got stuck to a couch cushion. Couldn't get out.
No, I think it's a myth. I never did that.
It's a myth.
Good old hand. I don't even in adulthood. I've never even used like the pocket pussy or whatever. I've never even.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say never even, but like I don't know anybody who's ever had one of those.
I don't know. They're talked about all the time. This is like a comedic thing. I like find very this is referenced all the time in comedy.
Yeah,
it's like fleshlights and like pies and all this stuff. And I'm always yeah, but has anybody here ever done this? Like, what is this reference we're all making?
Yeah. Where did
Nobody
it
cares.
start?
Where did it start? How'd this happen?
Well,
I mean, I don't know if first of all, I don't know if I could fit in the banana peel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Anyway, but
yeah, you're too big. You need a plantain. Well, anyway.
All right, fruit jokes. Well, happy Earth Day. Cory's working on his compost pile.
Well, just we just talked for 4 minutes about how this is not a thing. Well, anyway, there's a lot of banana peels at my house. Just looking like Mario Kart over here.
Comedy comes from truth. Comedy comes from truth. I just want to tell you that. Just remind you that.
Well, the post pile is true. Don't slip on the banana peels at my house or the cum.
Yeah, in honor of Earth, Cory has been reusing his jokes from 4 years ago for corporate gigs.
Well, you want me to bomb with jokes I still feel good about? I'm using the
my favorite part of the Green New Deal is where they reduce, reuse, and refund the police.
All right, that's enough.
Well, things on Earth are looking bleak, but exciting news from the red planet.
Which one's the red planet?
It's Mars. How do you not know that?
I don't see color. Make a good police officer.
But the new camera on the Mars rover is so powerful, it can spot a fly the length of a soccer field away. It's crazy.
Wow. How about the seams of a baseball or an empty hand with no gun in it?
Well, they're working on that. They have a new robot dog in New York City. Everyone was like, defund the police. NYPD is like, great. We don't have to pay robots to kill you.
Yeah, I saw that. Still some kinks to work out though, with the dog. Unfortunately, it won't stop barking at black people. Shouldn't have made it a white terrier.
I felt like there should have been a vote on that police dog. That thing just showed up one day. I was like, that feels like we should have had like a vote on it.
It feels like legislation that should have been.
Yeah, that feels like someone should have been informed. It shouldn't just show up one.
Yeah.
I was blown away when I saw it. I was like, I should have been in on this, right? We should have had a conversation as a country about this before we had the robot dogs.
Or at least like a demonstration video. I like trying to find out information on like what it does and they're like, just go in that building before us. And I'm like, okay.
Because they've always had robots that deal with the bombs, but it's like, that makes sense. Sure. I'd vote yes for that. Right. That makes total sense. But the dogs is just like, what are we doing here? What is this?
Bomb sniffing dog.
Is it? But it isn't about bombs, is it?
No, it's not for bombs at all.
See?
They use real dogs for that.
Nobody ever gets mad at a dog. So we'll just have them do all the shit we want to do.
Well, the dog is black and white. It's a Dalmatian. So
okay.
Get in trouble.
Love when you slide back in. Love the slide back in of like
the joke we wrote won't work. So
according to a new study, the pandemic work from home boom brought a 5% raise in productivity, mostly from commuting.
No fucking way.
And not having to talk to Cheryl for 45 minutes at the water cooler.
I also like 5%. Like that's so immeasurable. Like it had a plus or minus 7% error.
Yeah.
This is like, I studied political science in college. This is fun. And again, I continue to not make these funny, but I do bring in my little interesting tidbits. But I studied political science in college. That's what I double major in. And they're like, the first thing they teach you is how easy it is to manipulate a study. It is like so easy to manipulate a study based on what you want it to say.
Yeah.
There is no fucking chance in hell people are more productive because of this. No way.
Well, they say it cut out 45 minutes of commuting each way and whatever.
Yeah, but what about the rest of it? I mean, what about the rest of the time? The commute is the only thing you could maybe
when you're
get
not
me
sexually harassing your employees, and when you're not, you don't have to sneak off to the bathroom to jerk off. You can just do it at home in the middle of.
We don't have real jobs, but I watch my fiance work, and it's like there's no way she's.
I didn't work during this, but I watched that fiance. Well, we know one thing is true: Americans are all now eligible for the vaccine, ages 16 and up. Just how Matt Gaetz likes them, huh? But demand is dropping for the first time. Vaccinations are actually going down 11%.
Yeah, now that everyone is eligible, it's no longer cool to get a vaccine. So how do we vaccinate these hipsters? We just got to give out free shots at Hot Topic?
I don't know. Next time she tries to get her septum pierced at Claire's, you're going to demand a vaccine passport, or maybe just put the vaccine in the piercing needle.
Black and Native populations are still skeptical about the vaccine, and offering free blankets didn't seem to ease any of the tension.
All right.
I was watching a basketball game last night, if I may come in with this. Please. And they were having I forget what team it was, but they were having like a vaccination event. And I was like, well, we're desperate. We're officially at that place. The basketball teams are having to step in. This is how we got people to vote. It's all on sports.
Shooting t-shirts into the crowd.
I used to
vaccines into your arm.
Yeah, that's funny. T-shirt cannon. There was a back in the day, there was a guy, Jay Buhner, who was bald on the Mariners, and he once a year they would have Buhner Buzz Cut Night where they would give haircuts in the parking lot, and then you get a free ticket to the game.
It's awesome.
I think we should do that with vaccines.
I think that's what they're legitimately doing. This one team.
Is that? I thought they're just on camera going, "It's good to get a vaccine." I don't know.
No, they're like literally like it's an event at the stadium. Come to the stadium. I don't think you get a free ticket, but I think like they're gonna have like some athletes there, and it's like you get to meet a bunch of the athletes, and you get a vaccine.
Keep your needle.
I'm a guy on the bench.
Yeah, but basketball that works. Basketball only has 11 players, so even a guy on the bench, you like kind of know.
Yeah,
it isn't like football. There's guys in football who you're like, literally, who are you? But it's like,
it's true.
It's like fullback? Basketball. It's like, the backup fullback. You're like, what? Come on,
man. Well, I don't. Maybe they need to take this event to the least vaccinated counties in America, which are coincidentally also the counties Trump overwhelmingly won in the election. I I bet
What?
those people are going to experience much more loss in 2021. Bunch of losers.
Danny's gone. Let's skip to
No, he's here. Oh no, he's here. He just wanted his coffee. I wanted to keep.
These jokes
Biden-
putting him to sleep.
No, I love them. They're so good. I think we've really captured Americana with them. It's it's unbelievable.
Biden is offering reimbursement for businesses that offer paid time off to people getting their vaccine. Nice try. I'm used to taking paid time off and getting shots. As a teacher.
What does that mean? What does that one mean?
I think it means Andrew wrote it and gave it to me.
Well, I think you messed up you blame me when you stutter.
I'm used to taking paid time off for shots. Yeah, that's what I said, basically.
It's fine.
For shots.
Alcohol.
Got
Shots.
it.
Yeah,
Because of shots. All right. Hey, sorry, Biden. I've had paid time off all year, and I'd like to keep it going.
Yeah. More than
Andrew,
half.
can you do that joke he just butchered and attempt to make how did you vision it being said?
More than half of U.S. adults have at least one dose of a vaccination, but because kids are not eligible for the vaccine,
He's not doing it.
You're opening back up. They're catching it at a higher rate than adults. So if your kid gets sick, make sure you dial 1-877 SARS for kids.
Cory, can you text me that joke so I can attempt it? See if I can fix it for you. See if I can present it in a way.
Cars for kids? Nothing on Cars for kids? SARS for kids? All right.
Oh, he's still talking about the one I butchered.
I know.
I want to see if that joke works. I'm curious.
All right, we're gonna send you the data sheet here with all the jokes on it.
Here I go. Biden is offering reimbursement for businesses that offer paid time off to people getting their vaccine. I'm used to taking paid time off for shots. Oh.
Better, Andrew. And now, Andrew, you do it.
Andrew's turn.
I'm not sticking on this.
He refuses. Spring break. Let's take spring break. Let's take a break from. It's over. I can't wait to show off my tan I got from my computer screen beach screensaver. Just Tubin's tan lines.
Tubin's got tan lines.
He showed them.
Waiting for Danny to strip down. Every week he's stripping our jokes down. Every week it's spring break when school's on my laptop. I'm watching Girls Gone Wild right now.
Could you shut it down? It was take your kid to work day this week. Unless you work from home, then it was put your kid on a leash in the backyard day. I don't actually know why we make such a big deal out of working with your kid one day a year. Other countries probably roll their eyes. Like in China, they're like, hey, every day is take your kid to work day.
Take your kid to their work day.
Send your kid to work day.
Thanks for the Nikes. McDonald's in Florida is offering a $50 signing bonus because they're understaffed and trying to attract new employees. Good luck. I heard Minneapolis Police Department is hiring as well. Go get a job.
Are they going to offer the lifetime health insurance you'll need from eating their food? They're like the NFL. Signing bonus when you enter. Good luck staying alive after you leave.
Except the NFL won't let you use steroids.
And McDonald's just puts it right in the chicken. So,
speaking of steroids, our guest
with these
super
tags.
buff, and he's killing it. He's punching down at our jokes. Please welcome hilarious Danny Jolles, everybody.
Hey, I feel like I was supportive.
You were great.
No, it's fine.
Great.
We love it when you make fun of us.
I'm glad you spoke. A lot of people just
I thought there was
there.
No, I know. At first, I was really quiet. Well, because at first the jokes were great, and I was like, well, I don't want to step on these jokes. But then at a certain point, I felt like I was expected to say something. So I was like, okay.
Man.
But then I do my thing, which is I just get caught up in the news story element.
You're like, wait. This is bullshit.
Well,
yeah, no, I like
each
do my
person
little,
brings their own unique flavor to it. That's what we love.
When I sent in those late night packets, my monologue jokes terrible, and then I would have like a long piece, and it would always be like, I would be like, put this against anybody. My long pieces, I was like, felt so good about.
Oh, that's funny.
My monologue jokes.
Yeah, funny. Well, that's great. I agree. 6 parts is the special we talked about. What was the process of so we've done Don't Tell shows, and they're very, very enjoyable, really fun. They do a great job. How did this all kind of come together?
So I knew that because I was like, I've become a big believer in I'm always every special I do, I wanted to serve the jokes that I'm saying at the time.
Mhm.
So like I never like my thing is I never want to do Danny Jolles live at the whatever. Like I always want it to be a thing or a theme. And so for this one, I was like, you know, yes, I headline on the road. Yes, I do an hour, but the majority of what I do is 10-minute sets. That is the world I live in 99% of the time comedically. So why don't I do a special that highlights because my hour has, it kind of ease, but I'm going, there's transitions. There's obvious transitions. And I was like, when I do 10 minutes, I can do 10. I can do 6 10-minute chunks where there are no transitions. Like it will just flow. And so I knew I wanted to do that. I told Kyle of Don't Tell about the idea, and he was like, we would do that. Like we would, if you can do it for very little, we can just do 6 of our shows. You'll do a long set and we'll do it. And it was that quick that it all came together.
Oh, wow.
And then, I mean, I've said this on, I think every podcast I've done where I'm talking to comics, where I talk about this, where I'm like, for the record, no comic should ever do a special the way that we did this special. This was a suicide. I mean, we basically did 6 shows in over 2 weekends that nobody knew they were attending a special. We would have 2 hours to light it, set it up, set it up, light it.
Yeah, because
sound wise figure it out.
Yeah, they're literally not.
Yeah, they're
event
businesses.
spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like in a surf shop, in a gym, all these places. So they'd be open for business. We would show up. We'd have like a couple hours. So like every single place had 20 new issues that we had to like slowly figure out. And we would be like figuring it out right until the second the show started. It was chaos. It was every single venue had at least one the art gallery. I remember we literally were talking before I went up and we were like, look, we'll just call it 5 parts. Like we'll just like, it'll just be 5 parts. It'll be fine. Like because we were like, it's never going to work. This isn't going to happen. That one, like nobody showed up to. We had like 20 people in the crowd.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
My fiance is very obviously on camera sitting because we were trying to like fill it out
in different seats. That's and then you did that 6 times. So yeah, it makes sense that would be
it's chaos,
a nightmare. Yeah.
The barber shop, it was one of these things like the barber shop was our last one, and we showed up. We saw the immediate problem, which there were mirrors behind me. So but we figured that out quickly. We covered them up with like the smock things that you put on. So we covered them up. So yeah, so if you look behind me, there's smocks hung, and it's because behind those smocks are mirrors. But that was our only issue. And it was like our 6th show. At that point, the way we would light everyone is we would just set up one light up top that would go straight down, and then like a couple lights to the side, and that's it. Like it was very simple. And we did it, and we were sound wise, and we were like, an hour before show, we were like, I've never been this prepared. We're a machine. And then somebody went to the bathroom, and literally you open the door to the bathroom, you just hear like like the loudest. And we were like, well, that's a massive problem. What do we do?
Nobody can go to the bathroom during the
literally
show.
we had to be like, because there were comics before me, and we had to be like, go to the bathroom now. Go to the bathroom now. At a certain point, we're going to have to shut down the bathroom. And we had to shut down the bathroom. Keep in mind, nobody there thinks they're at a special. So people very quickly were like, why can't we go to the bathroom? What? What are we doing? Like, it was brutal.
Nice. So you didn't tell, they didn't know they were coming to a special, but they didn't get told while they were there.
Well, they knew they were, no, they had to, we had like signs up, like you're being recorded. This is for a thing. We had, obviously there were cameras. Like we told them there was a thing. Right. I didn't really want them to be like, I kind of love winning over a crowd. And I think that's like a fun part of this special. If you watch, is you see me like struggle a little at times because the crowd is, or not even struggle. It's like, they're not my friends and family who I've set up one big show after 10 years of doing comedy. Right. It's like, these are real people. So they're not just hopping on board with premises.
Yeah.
Like, and it's fun. It kind of creates like a nice, like in the moment back and forth. That most specials I don't think have. But also it was hard, and people were drunk and dropping things, and that was just a part of it.
That's interesting.
What was the challenge of picking your material each night? Because I've done like some of these tours where I'm like, oh, I'm doing 15 minutes a night. Why don't I just try to like film a thing 15 minutes at a time? But then I always get to the point where I'm like, this joke has like a callback to something else, or like this one doesn't work in this opening spot or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So basically what I did was I wrote out the chunks, and then I had 6 chunks. And what we did was we were like, all right, we'll do 30 minutes at each show. So I'll do 3 chunks per show. And the thing I would do is basically I would like do crowd work, whatever, like, what do you do, blah, blah, blah. And then at a certain point, I'd put my head down. I'd like let it get quiet. And then I would start. And I would do that chunk. Once I was in the chunk, I'm in the chunk. And I'd finish it. I'd always close. I never wanted to like end with like thank you. So I'd always close with like something like a did that make sense? Like what was that? And I'd sort of like go down. And then I'd like do a little crowd work. Like I'd reset, do the crowd work, get myself going, like all of a sudden, like be very present, head back down, part 2, part 3. And then each night we would start kind of like the first night, it was like very clear technology popped. So we were like, cross it out. And so the next night it was the new 3. And then there was nights like the recording studio was probably the crowd I struggled with the most. I probably went through all 6 chunks in front of them because I kept bailing on chunks because I was like halfway through. I was like, we're never using that chunk. So I like had to keep going. I probably did all 6. There was the final chunk. They like hopped. They like popped for.
Yeah, what was that one?
That was the one that was like love. And they were impossible. That crowd I could not get on board. And it was like, and it was so hot. It was brutal. That room was so hot. My mic fell off. I like had like a body mic and it like just literally sweated off of me. Like it's horrible. It was wild. But we like, that was the one, but that's how we did it basically was I wrote out the chunks and then it was like just setting it up and then crossing them off as we go. So it was like showing up places like by the final night being like, yes, I'm going to do some of these other chunks, but we're here for this. Like this chunk has to hit now. It was exciting.
That was
pretty exciting. A wild ride. It was a wild ride.
Lots of pressure. But you delivered, man. I laughed my ass off. I loved it. And it was enjoyable the whole way through.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Thank you. It is very stressful, these YouTube things.
Well, what are you up to on views? I think it was doing really well last time I checked at it.
Yeah, we're at like 25,000, which is great. I mean, 10,000 was my number. 10,000 was like I don't know about because you've put a special out on YouTube.
Yeah, I did a pandemic thing, which was like in the middle. I filmed it in October and it was like 25 minutes of just coronavirus jokes, like basically taking all these jokes and taking the best ones. And then, I got like, it's a funny story. I was supposed to like feature for Tim Dillon. And then like a week before he decided he was bringing his own opener. So then I got demoted to MC. And then like 2 days before he just canceled. So I got promoted to headliner. And so I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking of like, oh, if I'm working with Tim Dillon and I'm doing 20 minutes a night, I can try and film sections of it, 100%. Like that. But then I was like, well, fucking here we go. So I just threw together the night before I was in Austin, Texas, and I was hoping to get a good like read on the material. And it was just an empty show. And so I was just, swimming upstream. And then the week before, actually, I'm working on this YouTube video right now, but I got booed off stage almost because of like a Trump joke. And because I was in Southern Oregon, there was like a Trump parade outside my hotel. And so anyway, so I wasn't feeling like super confident going into it. And then the day of Friday, I booked the wrong flight somehow. So I was going to take like an early flight and get into Oklahoma and like take a nap. And then I couldn't do that. And so then,
that was all that week. Oh man.
Yeah. And so then the Saturday show, like I was hoping to get it Friday because Saturday was literally Halloween. And And so, but I knew, like, I thought the crowd reaction was better on Friday, but I messed things up in my head because I was tired from flying and stuff. And so I went with the Saturday set, which I thought I delivered better, but the audience didn't like as much. And then I just put it out, you know. But
it's great. I mean, my thing. I mean, it's very hard to do these things. By the way, when I did Colbert, the night before we did Colbert, they set up a show at 10 o'clock at Stand Up New York as like our final like run through. And I remember being like, why are we doing this? Like, this seems like a bad idea, but maybe I was like, but maybe they're throwing together. Like, maybe.
Have you not heard that story? You know, I mean, that's what's, you know, that story every time of like, we'll just do one more set and then it bombs. And then you're like, oh, fuck.
It was so crazy too, because I was so confident in that set. And at that point, I just was like I think like actually that night, the night before it, I like had set up an 8 o'clock show that was like a great show. And it was like my final one. And I literally had such a good set the night before. I was like, I'm just going to do other. I'm actually not going to tell the joke tonight. I don't want to tell it. Like you know what? I'm there. I feel it. I don't need to tell it one more time. I got it. I got the stupid joke down. And then they were like, let's do this 10 o'clock show at Stand Up New York. And I was like, all right. And I show up. There's like 15 people in the crowd. And she's like, just do what you're going to do with Colbert, like word for word. And I was doing this one bit. It's one joke. And so if you've never done a show for 15 people, the one thing you cannot do is do a long bit. It is like the only thing they won't do.
Yeah.
And I went up there and ate it so hard with the exact words I was going to use the next night and the biggest night of my life. And it was just like, okay. I remember being like in my head, I think I literally finished that being like, well, can't be any worse than that. Thank you. Like,
then the audience is like, what is he? I don't even know what he's talking about.
Now, were you nervous for the taping after that? Or did that play into it at all?
Yeah. I mean, I was, and that didn't play in. It's, have you guys done late night?
I have not.
No.
Oh, you both are going to do it. It's going to be so great. But when you do it, the thing I tell everybody about it is I'm like, what they don't tell you about ahead of time is that you are going to get more emotional than you ever thought was possible. Like,
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Like it hits you really hard. So my big fear was like, I woke up that morning and I was like, let's do a visual through in the shower. Did it. Halfway through the set, I'm like really putting myself there. I'd been to the stage before, so I knew what it looked like. I'd done like all the research. So I knew exactly what it was going to look like. And I was doing it and I was doing my set and I was like, oh, my dad's up there. And I looked in my head up to where my dad was and I started to cry in the shower. And I was like, big problem. We have a
do that on stage.
Issue. Like that.
What's worse than bombing on late night? Crying in the middle of it.
I was like, oh no. And so I went to my girlfriend. I was like, what do I do? I was like, we have a new issue. I'm like very emotional. I was like, this is not good. Nobody told me it'd be like that. And so I remember being so nervous for so many reasons. Because one, I bombed the night before. Two, there's a chance I cry. Three, like obviously the reason I'm thinking about crying is because I'm like very heightened emotionally.
Right.
I mean, I was so nervous. I did the thing. So embarrassing. Before I went out, I was like, all of a sudden my mouth got super dry and I was like, I need water. And like a bunch of PAs were like, he needs a water. Get him a water. And I was like, this is so embarrassing. I just need water. Like, so humiliated. And then I went up there, literally went completely calm. Like they handed me, it's why you do 10 million sets. Like they handed me the mic. Everything went completely calm. Time was so slow up there. I was so present. I remember literally at one point during my set, you can see it. I look up because they're laughing. I look up and the lights change on the ceiling at the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know? I didn't know. The lights just change randomly. And I literally was like, you can see in my head, I go, wow, that's really cool. Lights change. Cool. And then I look down and in my head, I go, well, you are wildly calm right now, buddy. That is wild. We're doing
real cocky right here.
Like, whoa, baby. Like, let's stay focused a little.
Right.
Had time of my life. Ended, closed, felt confident, no tears, nothing. Walk off stage, hand the guy the mic, immediately bawled. and like could not stop crying the entire like the booker Jessica Pilot, who's the best. She like saw me and she was like, "It went well," and I was like, "No, I know it's a different. I don't know what's happening to me. Like, I don't know either." Because she was like, she particularly after the night before, she was like, I remember her being like, "That was great," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I tried to tell you that. Like, I told you I felt confident." Like, I cried so much. I cried for days.
Wow.
I like could not stop crying. So
that's pretty cool. That's great.
It was wild.
I cry when parents are reunited with their parents who are in the military reunite with their kids, and that's it.
Oh,
So,
the dogs more so.
Yes.
Dogs are the ones that hit me way harder.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
But nothing else makes me cry. But I guarantee you.
Oh, buddy, I got a couple YouTube. I got a couple. I can send
He's got a playlist.
Oh, you ever watch kids surprising their stepdads with adoption papers?
God,
I like that stuff.
That'll do it.
Oh,
yeah,
that'll hit you hard.
That'll do it to me. Do you see this little kid that created a carnival at his dad's like rental? It's so good. I can't think of the name of it, but I'll find it. We'll exchange.
Oh, I'm happy to. Kids surprising dad. Seeing a dad breakdown is like always hits me so hard. Ooh. Just like a guy in his 60s, like beer gut, just like, you could tell just tough as nails, but also clearly like a wonderful dude.
Right.
Who's like, his adopted kids, like, clearly is like adopted this kid, like been great. And then like this kid surprised him. You just see them break like 20 years of not crying. Just like he just lets out and brutal. Yeah. Can't recommend it enough. There's always a moment they get it and they're always reading it. They're like, what the hell is this? Is it official form that says adoption of? And you're just like, it's like, oh no, so good.
It's like the misdirection of comedy, even of like that's what makes something so great is the misdirection of it.
Yeah, someone so tough looking, just immediately being like, oh, like, oh, I get it, buddy.
So those were those shows you did were all some were indoor. They weren't all outdoor, right? None of them were.
It was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not trying to. So those were unmasked and indoors.
Let's talk about it. You just murdered people for your special.
Zero reference to anything going on in the world.
Did you? True story. We had to change the order like a month before it came out because, and this is why it's good to be tight with your editor/director. Mm-hmm. Gordy Earl was who edited this, and he directed alongside Brad Silnetzer, and he called me like a month before it came out. And he was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry, but can I give you a note on the special?" And I was like, "We are locked, but sure." Like, but what? And he was like, "The opening words. It was used to be the gym was the first one, and the opening line of gyms is I go, this is a wild time, man. Like social media, what's going on?" He was like, for you to say wild time as your first words, and then the next words not be COVID is insane and it's distracting. And he was like, flip it with surf shop because you just opened normal. And we did. And it was like totally his suggestion. Huge last minute suggestion.
Did you resist it at first or did you go, oh yeah, you're right?
I was like, let me think about it. I'm a big let me think. I try not to react in the moment to like any piece of information ever. Like with anything I book, anything, I'm always like, talk to me tomorrow if this is still happening. Like I try not to get excited because I've just had my heart broken so many times in this town. So like with this, it was like same thing with me being like, interesting. It's a good point. Let me think about it. And I called a couple people and they were like, oh yeah, what are you doing? Like, what are you nuts? And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I called him back and I was like, thank you so much. Like, yeah, you just saved it. Switch it, flip the whole thing.
And so you held on to it for like over a year?
Yeah, man. We held it for a while. We like basically was finished editing. So we film it, COVID hits, but we're editing it. And of course, throughout, you forget those first 3 months of COVID, we just kept being like 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, nobody was panicked. Like in our mind, it was like, it's going to come out, once we finish editing in July. Then we had issues because there are some distribution models for specials that boggle my mind. and are crazy. And so we had a couple companies that wanted to distribute this, and I was excited to work with said companies. And then they would send me their distribution model, and I'd be like, "What are we doing here?" They are just swallowing up specials and chucking them on platforms nobody watches. And I don't like it, and it's for no money, and you get no say on anything. And so I was, but my reps wanted me to do that, so I was like, no, I don't want to. Like once Netflix said no, I was like, what are we doing here? Let's just put it on YouTube. And then thank God 800-pound gorilla came along, and they were the ones who were like, yeah, it's your special. We'll put it wherever you want it to go. You won't make as much money, but like they were understanding, and treated me like a human. And I'm very grateful for them. So we did that, right? So we finished that. It's like July. We're like, all right, we know what's happening. Then at that point, Black Lives Matter hits. I'm like, not a good time. Not coming out right now. No chance. Then we're starting to get close to the election. I'm like, I don't want to be part of this election. I don't want to be anywhere near this election. This thing is going to be hell. It's hellfire. We have hundreds of thousands of people dying. And we're about to have the most intense election of all time against a monster. So
I did jokes at a surf shop though. Anybody want to?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not doing anything until this election's over.
Yeah.
So we were like,
the election lasted like 8 months.
so then literally I was like, so we'll do it December. We had like set a December date. And then November 7th.
Georgia's coming up. Yeah.
And then November 7th, he's like, I did win. And everybody's like, he for sure did it. And I was like, push it till the inauguration. This is going to be
January 7th. We're going to put the spell. God damn it.
I mean, I knew that was going to happen. Like I
think everyone was kind of like, this is the most unbelievable thing that's ever happened. Like, of course, like the whole time I'm like, I was like sitting at my desk watching TV, like, yeah, like, of course this was happening. But it's so absurd that you're like, why is this normal? You know what I mean?
Well, because it's a scam, right? It's scam work. When you scam people, what you do, I've done a lot of research on scams because my sister got scammed once, and I've like learned a lot about it. It's really a big issue in this. It's a huge issue in this country. Nobody talks about. Like, I think almost 10% of Americans get scammed at some point in their life.
Dude, when I was like probably 19 in college, I fell for the old, this guy bought a thing off Craigslist, mailed me a check, and I don't know, it takes 3 weeks for a check to clear or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I was an idiot and didn't mail the thing out for 3 weeks because I was just lazy. But I like already went and bought like a stereo system for my car and shit, and I was just like, oh fuck, you know?
Yep. No, I was
like, why is he buying my computer for $2,000 more than it's worth? I don't know. It just must be a good luck, you know.
Must be great. Yeah. Wow. I guess I caught a break for once. That's what they.
What'd you find in your? What do you find?
So the thing a scam will do, right, is it's basically the two-pronged thing, which is they want to isolate you and they want to scare you. That's the keys, right? Particularly like an IRS scam, anything like that. They're going to get you on the phone, and they're going to be like, the first thing they're going to do is going to be like, you're in huge trouble with the IRS. Police are going to come and arrest you if you don't do this. This is just the IRS one, but this is most of them, right? Scare you.
I get those calls once in a while, yeah.
Yep. The next thing they're going to say, if you go for that at all, they're going to say, if you talk to anybody, we also have to arrest you because, we're trying to deal with this radio, and they isolate you, right? They're going to try to isolate you for as long as possible. It's what I don't know if anybody listened to this OneCoin podcast about this. Like, it's basically like a fake Bitcoin that was worth billions and billions of dollars and had literally no value. And it scammed mostly Europe and Africa got scammed by this lady out of billions of dollars collectively. And the key that they would do is they'd say anybody who said otherwise about this thing, they're haters. It's all about haters. They just don't get it, and they're trying to stop you from succeeding. It's isolation and fear. They're trying to take your money. You bought all these coins. They're trying to take your money. You don't want to lose your money, right? And that's why, and it's isolation and fear, isolation, fear. So what Trump did really well is he isolated and he's scared, right? In various forms of Democrats are trying to kill you. They're trying to, it's whatever, blah, 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 blah. And also like it's isolation. Don't trust the
Anyone
news.
who
Don't
isn't
trust
with
anything.
you is an enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all fake news. It's all them trying to stop you. And when you do that to people who believe it will really believe it. The people who stormed the Capitol, I am very much like, those are probably very good people. We would talk to them on the street. We'd have no issue with those people. In their minds, they were genuinely trying to save the country.
Yeah.
Like with the information they
lives.
had. Yeah, like the
There's
information
a
they
couple
had, they were
polls
like
that are like 60% of Republicans still believe that although they went too far, they had a good reason, or whatever that poll is.
100%. And by the way, that's going to be true for years. Like, I remember like a day after Trump got out of office, somebody came out and they were like, still people believe he won. And I'm like, yeah, it's been a day. It's going to take a while to, because the only way to stop a scam, like the only way to stop the IRS scam is to get whoever's being scammed and be like, hang up the phone, see if the cops come.
Yeah.
Right.
Watch what happens. They're not going to, it's the only way to stop. You want to, you think this coin works? Try to get it out. Try to withdraw.
Try to use it. Yeah.
Yep. Try to use it. That's the only way you can stop somebody. So as time progresses and we're not being swallowed into communism and we're not murdering babies and whatever else is going on in their mind, as we slowly do that, people will slowly be like, wait a second, but they told us, we were told that, wait, but hang on. And all of a sudden it comes down and it'll lower, but it's a scam. It's a scam situation. Everybody kept talking about him like he's a politician. He's like, it's just scamming. It's scam.
Yeah. Well, so that brings up an interesting thing that happened to me this week that I don't think is a scam. I think it's just a big mistake, but Eventbrite sent me a W-9 and I hadn't opened it. I just opened it and was going to send it off to my accountant, and they had detailed on the W-9 that they gave me paid out $336,000 to me in 2020, and they had it detailed month by month. And it's a W-9 as far as I can tell. Everything's accurate on it. Their TIN, my social security number, everything, except their phone. The phone number on the document is wrong. The phone number goes to some, hey, press 1 if you'd like to subscribe to this or that. And oh, nope, you don't want that. All right, how about press 9 if you want to buy a new this. But I Googled that number and it used to be an Eventbrite number. It's an old Eventbrite number.
So Eventbrite sent you,
this is quite, out what
this is a pickle.
What's going on here. Yeah.
Well, they
could pay me $336,000. That'd be, I'll pay taxes on that happily.
I mean,
I got that. The end result.
The worst feeling is like right now in my head, I'm like, I got bad news. This is going to be a nightmare. This is going to be a nightmare for you.
Yeah,
because
I'm worried about it.
Because
you already got audited 2 years ago too. So
did you?
Yeah,
buddy.
2017.
You wrote off too much?
They were wrong
for a hobbyist,
as it turned out. Well, it was a change from being a teacher full time and making like, my district paid the most in the state, whatever. Like it was like 80,000, and now I make nothing. And took a loss on a business, and they're like, "Well, how's that? How are you alive? How's that possible that you taught and now you don't anymore and you're alive?" Like, I don't. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, so 2017 they audited. They were like, this is just a hobby. And I was like, well, yeah, a lot of audience members agree with you, but can we? So I fought it with I hired a lawyer and a new accountant, and they went to bat, and they were like, look, this auditor does not want to speak to a lawyer. They don't want litigation. They just want you to go, hey, send
100%.
And so lawyer wrote up a whole long thing. She wrote a 6-part. She said there are 9 things that constitute a business. He 100% qualifies in 7 of these categories, and he only really needs to qualify in 1 of them. And then I detailed. I think they looked at it like I was just traveling around the country doing open mics. And so
it's not even that.
I detailed what I actually did, plus the lawyer, plus she caved. The auditor was like, yeah, you're totally a business. Yeah. In fact, we owe you. They paid me $700. They wanted $4,500, and they paid me $700 because they had gotten a couple things wrong. Yeah. Anyway,
that's great. Yeah, but that's gonna be a nightmare because if you just got a W-9, that means they already probably sent that to the government.
Right. They sent it to the
So
IRS, so
they're going to have to fully fix that or pay you. Or
yeah, and I do. How hard are they going to work? And there's just no way. Like Eventbrite's one of those companies, like maybe every company now, but that they don't. There's no phone lines. There's no, but you can't speak
no,
to.
it's gonna be.
There's impossible to
It's
speak
gonna
to a
be.
human.
It's
So
gonna be hell on earth.
yeah, my we'll see. My yeah, I think it will be a pain. But my accountant was like, I want you to tweet at the CEO and CFO every other day. And that already kind of worked, sort of.
100%.
Yeah.
I won't say who I'm in a fight with.
Delta.
But it's a company that I genuinely like do a lot with and I work with.
Okay.
And it's not Don't Tell Comedy. And it sounds like Don't Tell. But they're doing something to me that's like not fair. And I literally called them on the phone. I was like, to be clear, if you were any other company, the way I deal with this, / the way everybody I know who does our job, because we have no benefits to this job, but the one benefit I have is that if I tweet about you, shit'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll pick it up. That's what I do when a company treats me wrong. I tweet the exact facts of the situation. And I was like, and for this situation I'm in, I'm like, if I tweeted the exact facts, I would not change one detail. I tweet those out. I'm going to get a bunch of people are going to be like, that's insane. Your social media person whose entire job is to put out flames like this will immediately contact me and we'll take care of this. And I was like, but you're a organization that I believe in. So I don't want to do that. So please don't make me. Please. I'm begging you. Don't make me tweet about you. Please. It was literally a part of the discussion. I'd be like, please.
Interesting. How did they like go? Yeah, we'll work on it, or are they like whatever?
We're still in the midst of it, but they understood. But they understood. They were like, I think they appreciated the fact I was like, look, this is what I would do. I don't want to do that. Like I'm being as honest as I can with you. That is how I handle. Time Warner decides to fuck with me. Yeah. I tweet at them. Within seconds, I have a DM from a social media person being like, I am so sorry. I'm gonna give you. Someone's gonna call you right now. Yeah. Like we take care of this.
I feel like if I threatened to tweet about a company, they'd be like, you got 6 followers. We're fine. You know what I mean?
That's not true. You have a lot of followers, young man.
I know I have a few, but
come on, buddy. Don't sell yourself short.
Come on.
This isn't the monologue section. This isn't the banana peels thing. I won't let you tell lies here. You got to tell truths.
That's great.
I'm a huge truths guy, I don't say anything on stage I don't believe.
That's a
really?
Tommy,
is that
a Tommy Johnigan?
That's
a Tommy Johnigan thing.
Is that true?
He's huge.
I love it.
On not just what believe, but he literally will not tell a lie on stage. So he has become the master of the hypothetical scenario because he will foray into like. Yeah, instead of just saying, and then I said, if he didn't say it, he ain't saying it on stage. So he'll go, I didn't know if I was supposed to say, so he'll say phrases like that. And then now it's hypothetical and anything can be.
So that's very interesting. Yeah, I will exaggerate and I will certainly add, my actual thing is more about beliefs. Like I won't say anything I don't believe. Like, my thing, and this is, I have to give this speech at colleges a lot, is I'm always like, I won't say anything up here that if you come up to me afterwards and you're like, I disagreed, I'll be like, but I was joking. That's never going to be my response. My response is, I believe that, and we can have a conversation about it. But I promise you, the one thing I will not do is just say something and then go, joking. I won't do that to you. Right. And that gets me out of a lot of colleges kids get that. It tends to work out.
That's really good at colleges. I think Steve wrote up an article on one of his Hofstetter on one of his articles about that because I remember reading like, that really helps you after shows because you just go, well, I have no problem with that joke. I'm comfortable with saying it. I believe it, and
I'll debate you. I mean, there's times people have been, there's times people. I'm like telling this joke right now about like my journey with transgender rights and how I got to where I am, and because of that, I openly admit, like, I didn't always get it, which I don't think should be a crazy stance.
I mean, yeah.
I wasn't born woke. I had to like figure it out. Nobody
Sure.
is. Like anybody who says otherwise is straight up lying.
Right.
Even people who are transitioning or transitions are like, I didn't know what this was. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's like,
so how would I? Yeah.
right. So like I didn't, but like sometimes people will be like, you said that one part and it's like offensive. And I'll be like, well, no. I'm like, it's not actually. I was like, I think I've spoken to someone about it, like, because that is how, and I'll just like literally talk about it with them. And the thing is, most people are not actually offended, right? It's just like, I don't think you're supposed to say the thing you just said. So I'm upset that you said it.
Better. Yeah.
But it's like, if you're just like, no. Like, why do you think that? Because I think this. After like 2 things back and forth, they're like, this isn't worth it. This isn't what I wanted here. I wanted you to apologize or get upset. You're not. Like, you know, like they're really like, all right, whatever. Like,
that's actually got me a bit of trouble. Not trouble, but like, I on TikTok have a bit that did well, and I'm like, that's not my favorite. I don't even know if I really, believe in that fully. And then everybody liked it except for one woman was like, this is kind of sexist. And I was like, I don't think so. I say this, and then we're back and forth. And I'm like, she's got a decent point of like the language. And I'm like, this is silly. Why did I? And then I'm like annoyed that was the bit that did well. So I'm like, well, I should have just not. I should just not. And I should not do that bit.
But if I may, but Cory, if I may compliment you, what I like about that is, because I've said this before, is there are jokes I've written where somebody's come up to me afterwards, and this is the hardest thing to do, I think, as a comic, but I really believe it is important. Is somebody comes afterwards and they're like, what you just said was not fair because you said this, blah, blah. And I've gone home and been like, they're right. 100%. Right. Joke did not factor that in. And I've fixed the joke as a result of that. And I've always been very grateful. There are certain like comedy rules I go on stage with. And the only reason I have that rule is because I said a joke where I didn't follow that rule. Somebody very accurately afterwards was like, you shouldn't say that. I've been like, why wouldn't I? It's comedy. What are you proud of? And then they've like explained it to me, and I've been like, shouldn't say that. Fair. So I don't think it's a bad thing. As long as nobody's getting hurt, it's like, I don't think it's a bad thing if somebody's like, no.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, no.
And to be fair, like the bit is like, I was trying to go like, I only have a minute on TikTok. I can't do the whole nuance of, but then I'm like, just, I shouldn't have said. It was like one phrase that I feel like if I could have, and I'll just change the phrase. And and then
that's my fear with podcasts. I do so many, like you do so many podcasts, and you're just like spitballing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, and then I like, and then I hang up afterwards, and I'm like, that good what I just said? That isn't really how I feel. I just was like kind of spitballing.
Yeah.
Some people will message us and be like, hey, can you take out the part where I made fun of this person? I'm like, it's Daniel Tosh is going to listen to the podcast. You're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody's.
I'm bringing my podcast back soon. But when I did it, I used to have guests all the time, and I would always be like, you got a day to tell me what you want to cut.
Totally.
And then I had one person who I had to cut an entire segment on their behalf. I cut it for them.
That's nice.
Because they said something, and I was like, you don't want that. You are a public figure, and what you said you don't want out there. And I did. I cut it. And I had to, but I did have to say on the podcast, I was like, something happened in the third segment and it's gone. So this third segment's me alone, which is weird, but here we are. Like, like
my other podcast is interviewing strippers and sex workers as a guy who's like, teach me, how we can all be better customers in your space, and how you're a typical
better
human.
Customers in your space.
Yeah, I had to do that because I shouldn't say I had to, but that's the direction the podcast took, because they're like, well, the only reason we want to speak to you on a podcast is so we can humanize us, because people think we're a bunch of drug addicted, crazy, awful people. So I was like, well, great. So I interviewed them, and I've had 5 ask me to not put it up at all.
Wow.
And they are already hard to get, those interviews, because hey, come to my hotel room to do a podcast is not very
On a good pickup line with strippers.
Not a good pickup line. Sure, you have a
I do
podcast in your hotel room.
I do think that's going to be one of the big changes in podcasts. I think we're going to be doing Zoom podcasts for quite some time.
That's why I'm releasing season 2 tomorrow, because it's called
Come
Stripper
on.
Whisper, if anybody listens, because I was able to do a bunch of Zoom interviews, and I was like, oh, this is way less intrusive. And then now they're reaching out to me like, please have me on your podcast, because I'd like to talk about stripping in Mexico.
Ooh,
Here we are.
Can't
Anyway,
imagine.
yeah, that one's interesting. Listen to that one. Alma, she's an interesting gal. She's really
Was
cool.
that the one that had like a murder outside her hotel room or whatever? Yeah.
Well, she couldn't get back to her house in time to do the podcast, our first scheduled time, because there was a shooting. She's like, hey, can we do next week instead? I was like, sure. No, you have to get home. I don't know what
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a fun podcast, but yes, having to, and I can't be the guy that's like, screw you, I'm putting it up, because that would then know who would want to be interviewed by me in the future.
No, I know you don't want to. Again, my intention. Yeah, none of us ever want to hurt anyone with our comedy. Right. I don't think. Like that's never our goal. Like that's something I think. There's like a rumor of like comedians are like, we want it. It's like, no, we're all like, I like nothing makes me sadder than when I tell a joke and somebody's like, that really hurt my feelings.
I love that part of your special where you're like, hey, I don't make fun of you. You sit where you sit in front. I'm not going to go, oh, look at this guy with the hat. You know, that was
man,
great.
I missed that opener so much. That was my favorite. I loved doing that on the road because it was so nice, because it's really how I feel.
Puts them at a calm. Yeah.
Oh, crowd would just relax. The amount of relaxation in the first couple rows when I would say that, I'd be like, I'm not going to pick on you. Just be like, oh, it's also why I loved opening for Steve.
Yeah.
Because so many Steve clips feature me at the beginning being like, I've had so much fun with you guys. By the way, you're about to get in trouble. Because like, I'll just talk over them and not deal with them. But I'll like literally be like, he's not going to like, I don't care. He's not going to like you. Like,
I've done that a few times where I'll be like, hey, I'm being nicer than the next guy is going to be. So just be quiet.
Do you want to end up on YouTube? Because if you do, keep doing what you're doing.
Fortunately, probably most of them do want to be on YouTube.
100%. He totally attracts. He also, I mean, it's all real. You know, he's so quick on his feet that he'll just respond to anything that happens.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, for me, it's not that I won't respond.
We let 70% of the stuff go. But most of the time, every time there's a mouse, he's like, what the fuck did you say?
What the fuck did you say, mouse? And you're like, oh, it's just a mouse.
Mouse owned.
Yeah.
You fell into my trap. All right.
That's cheesy.
So true. He'll get you. He'll get you good. So yeah, no, I'll talk. Oh, I love talking over people. Last night I did a show on a rooftop, classic. And there were these girls that were just yappy. And they were doing the thing where they were like getting ahead of your joke. Like they'd be like, sort of like this. And you're like, literally 2 sentences later. I'm gonna say,
yeah.
Yes. Like that. But they were sweet. They were into it, right?
Yeah.
And laughing really hard. So I just was like, whatever. I kind of worked them in, you know, like they'd say things. I'd be like, it's a good point because actually, and like, just skip the joke ahead and whatever. I love doing that.
Looks like a almost.
Yeah. I'm like, oh wow, you got me there.
Yeah.
But then like Brian Simpson went up at the end. He was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. like I was like 100% partially my doing. I did encourage it, some would say.
Right. Well, that's, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, people always ask, of course, that's such a common question, but I'm like, well, I just ignore for as long as I can. And then I'll do proximity. That's a teacher term where you walk, like in a classroom, you just walk over to the kid that's talking and stand next to him and teach from there. And they're like, I can't talk now. So you just do that on stage. You just walk towards the area. And then I'll do like, what'd you say? What was that? And a lot of times that'll get them because they're like, I don't want to. And so then I don't have hecklers. Or almost.
Watched John Doerr the other night.
Man, it was
what
awesome.
Happened?
But
well, just some a lot of like he would start a setup like, oh, I'm from Juneau, Alaska, and somebody like, I live in Juneau for 2 years, and he's like, great, cool. Like at one point in the middle of the show, he's like, it is impossible to build any tension in silence because there's no fucking silence. And
He had one
and then
woman. Oh,
yeah. Well, Dave kind of walked over to the owner of the club, kind of like started walking over, and he goes, Dave, I got it. And Cory and I were both like, we would have been like, no, go ahead.
Oh my God, nothing makes me happier. Then I'm like, you be the bad guy, please go over there. Oh, I'm always like, I always see it happening. And I'm like, yep.
He kept being like, I think I can turn this. I think he thought he could get her.
No.
But like, I think one of the maybe one of the opening comics was like, oh, these bitches are drunk here every single weekend. And he kind of recognized them, and it was like they're just blacked out and don't know anything. And so I think they thought they were helping because he was trying to include them, and he's very crowd worky and kind of goofy anyway. So
no,
and then he just ordered like a 4th Coors Light or something. He was like, "Hey, give me 2 more Bud Lights. It's gonna be that kind of show or something, you know." He's got 4 empty bottles of beer on stage, going like, and he goes, there was 2 people that he recognized as like fans that like come to see him often. And like every 5 minutes he kept being like, hey, you find me after the show, I'll get you tickets to tomorrow. I'm so sorry that you had to watch this show. I was like, all right.
Funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you could have just kicked those bitches out, but
yeah, you could have kicked them out, or you could have just like, because my thing is basically, I will give you every way out. I'll talk over you, then I'll work you in, then I'll go, hey, quiet, nicely. Then I'll do like a little bit more stern, like, hey, shush, please shush. Like, I'm begging you, like, come on, work with me.
Yeah.
And then like I'll literally do, I'll be like, what are we doing? What do you want? What can I do to help you? Because because you see everybody else has got it down. What can I do? And then, so I'll do that. It's like, I've only gone like loud a couple of times, but it's like, at that point, I'm like, I always start with like, I've given you 200 ways out of this situation. I have tried everything I can. Now I'm upset. What do you want? What do you want your heckler moment to be? How do you want me to make fun of you? I hate this. You made me do this. I like get so mad. It never happens, but it's like, when it does, I'm like, because I'm just like, I try so hard not to do that to you.
Yeah.
I tried so hard.
I was I'm philosophy wise, I'm like a disappointed father where I'm like, come, why, like, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this?
Too. Yeah. Why are you doing this to me? Why? What have I done to you?
You know so much better. I raised you better than this.
Yeah.
Well, then you have the good line where you go, the best apology is change.
Oh, yeah. I try to make them apologize because I have a line that kills where I go, the best apology is changed behavior. And the audience just goes, oh, fucking no.
Yeah. You want to know my built-in line? Yes. It's like a long rant. Actually, it's a rant. It's classic Danny thing. I don't have a line, but I do. I do this thing.
Want to know my 6-minute heckler bit that I do?
Truly, it's like I go off because I have like this whole bit because I've had to do
part 7. You're gonna put out bonus footage of the.
Now that we're recording, now that the new thing is you just record every set and put things on YouTube. Who knows when this bit comes out? But I'll do this thing where I'm like, listen, I am begging you to be quiet. But if you refuse to be quiet, then here's what I want you to do. You need to go buy a ticket to Broadway, and you need to act this exact same way in front of them. Because there is this rumor online that comics are mean, right? You see tons of us online being like, shut up. And everybody's like, well, comics are mean. I'm like, no, we're the only art form that has to deal with this. You guys don't do it anywhere else. So I need you to go to Broadway and you heckle them. You heckle Patti LuPone mid-song. You go, that's great. Or whatever they'd said. I'm like, you do that to them. Because if you think comics are mean, wait until you deal with actors. They're going to, Alec Baldwin's going to punch you in the face in a Broadway, and I do this whole rant about it, and they always like, woo, and then they shut up.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm like, it's true. It's like, you only do it to comedians. Yeah, why are we the only ones that have to deal with this shit? And the answer
Hamilton is come on, there wasn't any black guys back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or even puts the supportive, like, but like, it's a good song. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to Shakespeare and they're like, do the Macbeth one. It's like, shut up. Shut up.
This isn't about you. Who was it? My show years ago, someone did a thing of like, hey, I'm gonna let you talk. I know you want to talk. I'm gonna let you talk. I have to do this joke, and then after this joke, you can say whatever you want. And
this joke is 40 minutes
long. Next joke is 40 minutes long. The whole thing. And the first time I saw it, I was like, that is amazing. So good. Well, hopefully we get to deal with some of these people at live shows here soon.
Coming back slow, baby. But you guys seem like you're opening. I mean, you're opening for all the big guys. You guys have a real who's who.
And
just a little lucky. Both. I mean, we got a good relationship with the local club, so they'll throw us a bone once in a while.
It's awesome.
And he's in a tough spot right now, I think, of like, he knows we'll work and he doesn't want to be asking people who are going to get mad at him. And then there's a long list of people in Seattle who won't work right now. And So, So
no, for sure.
I'm
fully vaxxed, so I'm living a very cocky life these days.
Well, that's awesome. It was so good talking to you, man. It was really fun.
What a pleasure.
Hilarious stuff. Again, it's 6 parts on YouTube. And now is it on your YouTube channel or 800 Pounds YouTube channel? Or...
My YouTube.
Okay.
Danny Jolles 6 parts. It means the world to me if people watch it. Just give it a shot. Try part 1.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome, man. And 800 Pound, they're amazing. I watched them on my album. They're really awesome.
Yeah.
And,
they're great. I can't, and I am not naming other companies, but
sure.
They really are, I believe, like going to revolutionize.
They're very thoughtful. I had a deal with them before Corona hit, actually, and then I filmed the thing on my own, but it just wasn't good enough quality. And but now that things are opening back up, they've reached out a couple times to be like, "Hey, what do you got? Let's get another recording." And
great.
But then they were like, it's kind of funny because the guy was like, "Hey, just a heads up, probably don't want a ton of coronavirus jokes on there or like topical." I was like, yeah, I'm pretty aware. My whole act is useless right now, so thanks. But I thought it was nice that they at least like thought of that to be like, hey, just in case we've seen some of your stuff online. If you're gonna keep doing this coronavirus only material, might not work.
It's great. I mean, they're really like, they're great. I can't speak highly enough about them and Don't Tell Comedy. Both are great. And then I'll do my final plug, which is I do this on every podcast. Here it comes. But stand-up comedy is like hockey. It is fun to watch on TV, but it is just a different experience live. People do not realize this. People watch a lot of specials at home and they think they know stand-up and you don't know stand-up. So if you're listening to this, don't worry about seeing me. Don't worry about seeing Andrew. Don't worry about seeing Cory. It's nice if you do, but don't worry about that. Just go see live stand-up comedy. Look up at your local comedy club and go and see live comedy. I promise you, it is the most fun you'll have. You'll have such a good time. You'll get addicted. Just go see live comedy. That's it.
That's awesome. It's great. And if it is one of us you want to see, Andrew J. Rivers on all the things, Cory Michaelis Comedy on all the things, and at Danny Jolles on Twitter and all the things.
And all the things.
DANNYJOLLES. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate having you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Oh, he's leaving?
Did he just leave?
Oh my God. We don't even say goodbye.
Out of the fucking show?
Like, who does that? What rude.
Fucking rude.
So rude. Here I am.
He's never done that before. This was his least favorite episode.
Oh, is it me? Was I rude?
I think it's because you made him read that joke 7 times.
I would have done it. I was trying to get me to do it. I was trying to get you or me to do it to see if
it was fun.
It was wonderful, buddy.
Dude,
I'm glad you're doing well. It seems like you were really open for the who's who out there.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, he just texted me. I meant to hit stop record. All right.
Let him back in.
I don't know how to
tell him to just click the link.
Participant. Well, I'll text him we're still in if he's
Oh boy. Now I'm fucking up. Oh God. Okay. Done. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know. Just tried to stay a little busy and just wasn't happy with the Oh, he's back.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Good. Thanks again. Appreciate you. You're the best. Still recording. Hope you didn't talk too much shit because it still was recording.
Oh, true.
No, it was mostly me being like, did I offend him? What'd I do?
Nah, I always hit the wrong thing. There's a big red end at the bottom, but that doesn't mean end recording. That means
leave
leave
end.
the meeting.
Mhm.
So